What's up, everybody? I'm Carson, and welcome back to the Geek XP. Well, surprise, surprise, I'm going to be talking about the Switch today, and there's a little bit of interesting news that came out this past week about the Switch. So, the common conception about the Switch is that Nintendo hasn't been making enough for people to pick up. It's super popular right now. I'm really glad that it is. I pre-ordered it right away back in January, or February, I think. And I was able to get one on launch day. But there's a bunch of people out there that haven't been able to get one. They want to play all these awesome games on the go. So, yes, Nintendo, they do create this culture of false demand sometimes where they on purpose don't create enough hardware. And then there's people are clamoring. They're like, where are all the Switches? They're all out. It looks great for investors. Because investors see they sold out of their stock. It's great. But this may not be the entire case for why there's shortages now. This past week, some news came out from the Wall Street Journal reporting that Nintendo is facing shortages of NAND flash memory chips, liquid crystal displays, and small motors that go in the handheld controllers of the Switch. So the big question is, why are there shortages? Apparently these are very common parts that can be found in smartphones and computers. And the big problem is that Apple is really ramping up in production for their new iPhones and other devices, and they're taking all the parts that are needed. And there's a quote here from a Toshiba Corp representative, and this is what they say: demand for our NAND flash memory has been overwhelmingly greater than supply, and the situation is likely to stay for this the rest of the year. So we're seeing huge demand from Apple for all these components. Nintendo, who originally had about 8 million scheduled to be made for this whole fiscal year up till next March, decided to double their production because of the popularity of the Switch. So we have two big companies that are trying to meet demand of their customers. And of course, Apple is going to get the priority. They are probably the biggest tech company in the whole world. So Nintendo here, I feel like, is picking up the scraps that's left over, and there's just not enough for Nintendo. So we're kind of seeing an example here of just an unfortunate circumstance where I don't think Nintendo can meet the demand that's actually here, and it's not on purpose this time. And then the Wall Street Journal continues to give us a little bit more bad news. This is probably the worst news out of the article. The journal noted that given the supply constraints that I just talked about here, it'll likely be hard for many consumers to get their hands on the Switch for the rest of 2017. Now, this by far is the worst news because I think a lot of people were waiting for Super Mario Odyssey to be able to go get a Switch and play probably one of the best games of this year. A lot of people have played Breath of the Wild by now, but there might even be some people out there that still want to play that game, and they're just waiting for a really good first-party lineup to be able to pick up the Switch. And I gotta say, I think that plan is kind of off the table now. In the holiday, it's going to get crazy. People are going to be going out there lining up and stuff, and people are doing that now, but I think it's going to be even worse in the holiday. So my suggestion to anybody who wants a Switch and hasn't gotten one yet, I would just start looking at your local GameStops, your local Walmarts, Best Buys, Targets, just constantly checking to see if they have any in stock or if they're getting any in stock. This is probably your best bet, and I would not wait to the holiday to get a Switch. I would be looking for it all the time. And believe it or not, it's not just bad for the consumers, it's bad for Nintendo also. Because of this short supply of components that they need, the price for them is going to start going up. And this means Nintendo's going to have to pay more to actually make a Switch. Before this, Nintendo was not selling this thing at a loss. They were making money on it. And sometimes companies try and take it at a loss initially and try and get people to really buy it a lot, and they kind of make up their money in the long run. But Nintendo, as a practice, they don't like losing money on their console up front at the beginning. And they might have to go ahead and take a blow here. It's gonna suck, but they might have to start selling this thing at a loss now, and because they need to pay for these components, they need to get the components, even if the price is gonna go up. Now, I don't think it's going to affect the price of the Switch. They would never all of a sudden increase the price of the Switch. That'd be really bad marketing. People would not buy the Switch. So it's not going to affect us. The shortages affect us because there might not be enough. and then the shortages are also affecting Nintendo because they're going to have to pay more to actually make them. Maybe something can happen where there's going to be more in 2017, but I think holiday 2017 is going to be insane. Super Mario Odyssey is going to be awesome. I can't wait for that game, and I know a lot of people can't wait either, but like I said before, I think you guys need to start looking for one now, because holiday season, there's just not going to be any. It's going to be crazy competitive to try and find one. Well, that's all I've got for today, everybody. Thanks for listening or watching, and just as a reminder, we are going to be live streaming the E3 press conferences. That includes Microsoft on Sunday, Sony on Monday, and then Nintendo on Tuesday. That's the plan to do that. So get hype, everybody, and we'll see you on those days. All right, bye.